Okay, back to Tanya, chapter 37. It's a long chapter. It's a very big discussion, very important discussion. And the discussion we're talking about is what happens when you do a mitzvah. So when you do a mitzvah, we learned that it's a team effort. It's the body, it's the guf, it's the nefesh. And while it's true the nefesh elokis, the godly soul, is motivated to do the mitzvah, but the tool is also very important. So you can't just praise the tool, obviously. It's the tool in the hand of the master. The master over here is the nefesh elokis, motivating it and pushing it. But, it's actually not a good example, because you don't praise the hammer at all. A hammer doesn't get elevated but here, because the action is holy, so everything being done to fulfill that action, it gets elevated. It's participating in that holy act. That's the nefesh, that's the body, and everything that went into the body. The food, the energy, the money you use to purchase the food, everything. So it elevates the entire experience. Let's go. Ma'achar. We're holding in the old print, 494, by the 25th of Adar. New print, what page is it? 508. And once we have the totality of your animating energy, Sheklolos B'Yisrael, in the community of the Jewish people, Tiyah Merkava Kedusha Lashem, will be a chariot. That means when all the Jewish people will serve as a tool to fulfill Hashem's purpose to do Torah mitzvahs, Azai, then Gam Klos Achai Shalal Mazah. Then the energy in the whole world, because again, why did Hashem create the world? He created the world for the Jewish people to fulfill the Torah and to have an impact on the whole world. So if you lived your life 100% as a tool for Hashem's purpose, and you did, and I did, and all the Jewish people, and we elevated, because remember, it's not just you had food. It means the food, you went to the supermarket, you interacted with Gentiles, you interacted with a bunch of people. So your entire experience is being channeled towards uplifting world. So you imagine you had 15 million Jews, how many, that's right? About amount of Jews we have in the world today, living that way, then what would happen? The whole world would be elevated. Sheklipas nega achshav. Now the world serves as an obstacle. It's the klipa that could possibly shine, the godliness can possibly shine through. Teitzei az mitumasa. The world will go from its part of impurity, and it will emerge of its sickness, and it'll be elevated to holiness. What is interesting sickness? Let's say, for example, you have to go to work. You wake up a person wakes up in the morning, they're sick. What happens? I can't go to work. I can't work out. I can't this. Why? I don't feel like myself. I'm sick. So when something can't realize its potential, it's sick. The world is in a state of sickness. The world really could be actualized for good, yet it's not. It's stuck in bed. But imagine everyone would realize their potential. The whole world would be elevated. Liyos merkava Hashem, to be a chariot for Hashem, a subservient, be scholars, kvede. And how do you do that? By revealing His glory. That means the world. Now I was fumbling around my phone. I said, "Hey, I didn't even realize my phone can do that." I mean, that you're using your phone. How many of us use the phone just to make phone calls and went for appointments? Right? Do you know that your phone has, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel? Microsoft Excel is like one of the most powerful tools. Mm-hmm. People don't even know, right? All different things. The world is actually a place of tremendous potential for good, but instead, it has tremendous potential for good and godliness. But we're not realizing it. Imagine everyone realized their potential. The world as a whole will realize their potential. Mashiach comes, and all flesh, everyone will behold, and he will appear over them. This is a line from Rosh Hashanah, the high holiday Siddur. He will appear over them with the majesty of His power. So and Hashem's glory will fill the whole world. And Jewish people will see eye to eye. What does that mean? When you see something, it's true. Right? And no matter what a person tells you, seeing is believing. It's not even seeing. It's actually not a good saying, because once I see it, I don't need to believe it. I know it. Seeing is knowing. Hearing is believing. Right? If I see something, I don't believe it anymore. I know it. So meaning it's fact. So when Mashiach comes, we're gonna see godliness just as Kamat and Torah, just like by the giving of the Torah. If you ask a Jew who stood at Sinai, do you know that God exists? So do you believe? Believe. I don't have to believe. I saw God. He was there. I saw God. I had a godly experience. Ask a prophet. Ask Moses if he believes in God. Moses doesn't believe in God. Moses knows God exists, right? You know the famous story? I told the story a bunch of times, but it just reminded me of when Rabbi Yitzchak Berditchev got permission from his not Hasidic father-in-law to go to Mezrich to learn about Hasidim. So he got a period of 6 months. Well, his father-in-law was paying all his bills, like it was a custom back then. If you're a prodigy, you got a rich father-in-law, paid, well, you can sit and learn. So he got a 6 month reprieve, whatever it is. When the sailors go off. So he comes back after 6 months. So his father-in-law says to him, "No, Levi, what did you learn with those chassidim?" So I says, "I learned that now I know God exists." What were you before, an atheist? What does that mean? He calls in a young Jewish girl who worked in the house. A girl from a poor family, gave her a job, helping out in the house. Calls in this girl, says, "Look out the window. What do you see?" Girl says, "I see clouds." "Who created those clouds?" Says, "God." "What else do you see?" "Trees." "Who created the trees?" "God." A bunch of things. Okay, dismissed. So he says, "You see, even she says God exists. You have to wait 6 months of your life to go there to say that God exists." He says, "No, you don't understand. She says God exists. I know God exists." Right? When Mashiach comes, God and godliness is not going to be an abstract concept. It's like the table in front of us. That's how real it's going to be. So the Ksiv, like Moshe tells the generation who witnessed this, the giving of the Mount Sinai. At the Harei Saldas, you were shown to know Kashem Ha'olakim. Right? They didn't believe. They knew Kashem Ha'olakim. It's all one. Ein Bavada, and there's nothing else. That's what's going to happen when Mashiach comes. So we're at the giving of the Torah, at Matan Torah, at Sinai, we were given a glimpse of the messianic reality. But it stopped. And our job is to bring it back. And once you have a relation of godliness, once you have a relation of truth, where can falsehood present itself? When there's lack of clarity. If I can sit here and talk myself blue in the face that 1 + 1 is 3, you'll never believe it. Because the fact that 1 + 1 = 2 is a fact, right? If I told you that I have 1,000 books in my house, I can make you believe it, because you don't know for sure. But if, let's say, you knew it was not true, or you knew the truth, and I can sit and convince you, that candy is healthy for you. You ever see candy 0 sugar, or not sugar, 0 fat? Yeah, right. It's unbelievable. Meaning, where does evil and falsehood and deception lie? When there's lack of clarity. Why would a person? I remember one time I went to my friend's apartment in Israel, and he had this fancy French vanilla coffee. So I thought I'm gonna make myself a coffee. So I make coffee, and those were the days I put sugar in my coffee. So I put sugar in my coffee.
The good days.
Good days. I take a sip. Wow, coffee's very strong. Let me put some more sugar. So it was wrong. It wasn't sugar. It was salt. Right? Meaning, when do mistakes happen? When there's lack of clarity. When is there impurity? When there's lack of holiness. So when Mashiach comes, and the godliness is going to be revealed, what's going to happen to falsehood and evil and bad? It's not going to be dismissed. It's going to be automatically like darkness. When is darkness present? Lack of light. Darkness isn't an entity. lack of. What's impurity? Lack of godliness. So the moment there's the presence of godliness, automatically, it'll be gone. It says, by the way, that goes back into the idea that the world is not a bad place, and we have to transform it into a good place. The world is really a good place. Only it's schmutzig, it's dirty, it's covered over. So what do we got to do? We got to reveal the inherent good. He said, what's going to happen? And by revealing the godliness, automatically, will be annihilated and nullified. The three holy forces of evil, the three forces of impurity. Why? Because we spoke about this before. How does impurity exist? Or why does impurity exist? Only for us to have freedom of choice. So God has to make the choices salt or sugar, right? You would never put salt in your coffee, right? No. Right?
Not purposely.
Right. So when do you make the mistake? When you're not sure if it's sugar, right? The moment it becomes clear. So now, why did Hashem create
Freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice? So that means there are a whole manner of existence is not to serve the all purpose. It's to serve a secondary purpose. Once their purpose is realized, then you're dismissed. I don't need you anymore. The example I always give is the delivery man. UPS comes, drops a package over your door. Thank you. He lingers on your doorstep. A little creepy, right? I don't need you anymore. You can go now, right? I needed you as long as I needed you, but now Hashem needs the forces of impurity because He wants us to have free choice. The moment that period is over, that it automatically is going to. That means so that their nourishment, the forces of impurity, the nourishment it comes actually due to holiness.
Is that the meaning of the middle of page 509 in the new text? The revelation in the future will be permanent?
Yeah.
Whereas in Sinai it was.
Yeah, I mentioned that before. Yeah, okay. I saw at Sinai it was a glimpse. Right? Why? Because Hashem said, "Okay, I showed you what's possible. Now you guys do it." Right? Mashiach comes because it's going to be a matter of our work, because it's going to incorporate it and internalize, and it's going to be a product of our labor. At the giving of the Torah, we had to work up to merit that revelation, but the revelation wasn't a result of our labor. When Mashiach comes, the revelation is going to be a result of our labor, so it's going to be permanent. So that means the forces of impurity and evil get their life force from the forces of holiness. As crazy as, again, because if everything was holy and good, there would be no free choice. Like there won't be free choice when Mashiach comes.
This is no bad choice.
Everything's going to be. It's not. You'll still be able to do something wrong, but why would you? Why would you put salt in your coffee?
You won't do it. You just won't do it.
You just won't do it. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's why they're called crazy people. Why do crazy people do crazy things? Because they're crazy. A normal person doesn't do that, right?
Is that because of knowledge of the Torah?
Yeah, the Torah is truth. So now, Kabbalah talks about that before the Adam and Chava ate from the tree of knowledge, the world existed in absolutes, true and false. You wouldn't do something that's false. You only want to do something true. Good and bad are not true and false. Good and bad are subjective. But imagine you understand that everything that's true is good, and everything false is bad. Would you do anything bad or anything false? Of course not. If you do, something's wrong with you. That's not an example. Somebody who eats dirt. Yeah, he has a free choice. He can eat dirt, but that person's not healthy mentally. That's not a example of free choice. Oh, I could jump off a building. Yeah, but something's wrong with that person. You know, a healthy person doesn't do that. What's an example of free choice? Apple or an orange, right? Or peanuts or, a salad or French fries, right? Salad is healthy. French fries are fried in oil and the carbs and everything else. Right? Why do you do it? Oh, French fries are good.
Steaks, grits.
Right? Why? Because if you take this lettuce and fry it in oil, it'll also be good. right? It's good. But so when Mashiach comes, there's not going to be free choice. Not because we're going to become angelic and we're going to lack the capacity. We could do it, but you're not going to want to do it. So that means the forces of impurity now receive their nourishment through inside. The nourishment of vitality of impurity now is through holiness. So you remember we have three stages. We have holiness, we have impurity, and we have things that are not yet. Not yet what? Not yet holiness or not yet impurity. Depends on what you use them for, right? Is metal bad? No. You can make a bullet out of it. You can make a spatula out of it. I mean, it all depends, right? Is bread bad? I don't know. It depends. Is chazer bad? Yeah. Is tefillin good? Yeah. Tefillin is always good. Chazer, always bad. What's flour? What's bread? I don't know. Depends what you do it. So you have holiness is the absolute good. That's the source of life for everything. Then you have this in between level, which serves as the conduit for the forces of impurity to get their nourishment as well. So imagine you elevate the middle ground. You elevate all the bread and the wine and everything else, and you serve it and you utilize it only for the purpose of good. Where would the forces of impurity get its nourishment from? Can't. It dead. It says V'nimsa comes out. He called Tachlis Sheyimas Mashiach. The whole purpose of Messianic times, of Tchias Mason and revival of the dead, which is the revelation of God's glory and to banish the spirit of impurity from the world. Toloi is dependent. This is a powerful line right here. Toloi is dependent on you drawing down godliness through your whole through your body. So how are we going to realize that the perfect utopian time? By you doing mitzvahs now. And to remove the impurity. That means when you make a choice, how are tefillin made, for example? Tefillin are, you take a cow, slaughter it, and you have a rough material, and you refine it until you have the skin, which you write the mezuzah on. I mean the tefillin and the hide, which you use for the tefillin box, right? So what do? You took a rough materials and you refined it and you made it into this beautiful holy thing. That's what Hashem wants. He wants us to take this rough material called this world and refine it and to make it a. So what do? You got to throw away some of the bad parts and you utilize the good parts. Think of your body. Your body does it all the time. We put stuff in our body. What does our body do? Utilizes the good, tosses away the bad. Right? Now the problem is if you put a lot of bad into your body, you're not healthy. We'll be a lot better if you leave the bad choices out of your body altogether. So our job is to do good and to stay away from bad. We'll have to remove, to banish the spirit of bad by safeguarding the 365 mitzvahs leisaseh. So they won't have any nourishment. Now, time to go forward? Well, let's do it a little more. Sounds like I asked a question here. We'll do one more page.
It's doing all 613.
Well, 613 are divided into two parts.
Yeah,
There's the do's
365, the do's
and the don'ts.
Right.
Proactive and to stay away. Now that I've asked the question, and we're going to answer it. And after that, we'll adjourn. Why is it that suffusing the nefesh hachiyunis, the vital soul, with the Hashem's Ein Sof, infinite light, and banishing the impure clippers from the vital soul produces a parallel effect on the entire world? What he's saying is, I understand you do something right, or you abstain from doing something wrong. How does that affect the whole world? Because I decided to put on tefillin? Because I ate a salad over a cheeseburger? That affects the whole world. How? He says like this. Because Ki explains, we're holding the 18th of Adar too. Ki klolis Yisrael, because the general community of Jewish people. You know what's the number of Jews that keeps appearing in the Torah?
600,000.
600,000, right? So that means Kabbalah tells us that those are 600,000 root souls. All our souls throughout the generations are rooted back into those souls. So the general community of the Jewish people, which are comprising 600,000 particular souls, that is the life force for the entire world. That's why they were created. Now again, remember, we're talking about this in the previous class. If you believe in God, and you believe in God correctly, that means God did something for a purpose. He didn't just create the world because he's making model trains, right? Just to have a hobby. That's not godly. That's wasteful, right? So what's the purpose? So luckily, we're not in the dark. God told us the purpose. In fact, in the Torah, it says every day, it says it was evening, it was morning, day 1, evening, morning, day 2, evening, morning. When it comes to the 6th day, it doesn't say day 6. It says evening, morning, the 6th day. So rabbis say, what's the 6th day? What happened on the 6th day? It's talking about the 6th day of Sivan. 6th day of Sivan is when the Torah was given. So rabbis learn out that the whole creation, because the creation was 6 days, right? So at the end of the 6 days of creation, the Torah is saying all the creation, all that was only worth it. It's only because the 6th day of Sivan. If the Jewish people didn't do the Torah, then what does Hashem need a world for? So that means because everything, right? You go to work, why? To support your family. So your whole vitality, your whole energy you invest in work is not because of the work, it's for the family, right? So why did Hashem create the world? Not for the world, it's for the Jewish people to do mitzvahs. If there's no Jewish people to do mitzvahs, then what do I need a world for? Right? So he says, so that means the whole world receives energy, vitality through the Jewish people. The line that we've quoted in the Gemara, from the Gemara so many times, is the Gentiles would know how much benefit and blessing they get because of the Jewish people, and specifically because of the Holy Temple. Not only wouldn't they destroy it, they would put up forts and they would guard it with all the strongest armies. And that's why you think it's a coincidence that any country that was kind to the Jewish people prospered. Look at the history. Any country that was kind and welcomed the Jewish people, they prospered. Why? It's because Hashem created the world for the Jewish people. So when the Gentiles partner with the Jewish people and they allow the Jewish people to do what they got to do, so automatically they benefit. Because we've said it a million times, Jews and Gentiles are not enemies. It's not we don't care about them. We look at them as partners in creation. Our job is to do the Torah, and their job is to help us do the Torah. That's why Judaism doesn't believe that Mashiach comes, the Gentiles are going to be banished to eternal damnation or exterminated, like a lot of religions believe. We believe we're going to live in peace and harmony. That we're going to do Torah mitzvahs, and they're going to assist us because they're going to realize the value in a Jewish person doing Torah mitzvahs. It says the whole prat mehem, and every specific one of them who koilo shaykh lechayis chalik echa mishishim kol. And every single one of them, of those 600,000, is responsible to bring vitality to the world. And he recognizes, imagine you recognized that the entire world energy balance is dependent on what you got to do. It's almost like an action movie. I got to do this. If I don't do this, the whole world's going to come to them. You're a Superman, a super Jew. That's what you are. But that's what you are. The whole world is depending. Maimonides says this. Every person has to see the whole world hanging in the balance between good, blessing, and evil and destruction. And your act can tip the balance. But that's not hyperbole. That's the truth. Hashem created you to do a mitzvah, and the world needs your mitzvah. I did a mitzvah, that's great. Very good. But the world's incomplete without your mitzvah. This means, what does it mean, your mitzvah? The fact that you're using the material world, the tzerech gufay, for the needs of your body, you're using the material world. You're not negating the world and rejecting the world. That would make no sense. Why would God send a soul down just to ignore it? That's obviously, He put the soul down here in the body in order for us to interact with the world, but not just to interact and enjoy yourself, but to interact and elevate in the service of Hashem. Kegayin, for example, eating, drinking, and the like, and dwelling in old utensils. Ella, but surely there are more than 600,000 souls. Besides, it's quite impossible for one person to use a 600,000th of the entire world, right? The world's a massive place. So when we say 600,000, those are 600,000 root souls. All the souls now stem from those 600,000. So it's 600,000 divided by, I don't know. So you get the millions of Jews throughout the whole sherish mischalek, and every 600,000 divided into 600,000. So kol nitzas in neshama achas, and every spark is one neshama, is one soul. And then you have the level of chei nefesh ruach. You have the level of nefesh. You have the level of ruach. And from all the worlds. So we're talking about millions and millions and millions. Tzilas bri, tzir. The idea is that everybody has their job. Everybody has their job in order to fix, to elevate, and to utilize the world in the service of Hashem. And Hashem's waiting. Hashem's waiting for the job to get done. The boss is waiting. And it's hard. And we can go through life just ignoring our reality, ignoring our mission. But it's not only you're wasting your time, you're wasting everyone's time. And that's a tragedy. So we all got to utilize our time to do Torah, and when you do it, it has a cosmic effect. You may not be aware of it, but it is. Right? Let's stop here, and we will pick it up, Mr. Shem, next week. Well, we'll do it Wednesday.
Wednesday next week?
Yeah. We're holding 26th of Adar, 19th. Yeah. All right. Have a good week.